A few days ago, I was talking with a friend, and he told me about someone he knew, 31 years old, gone from overwork. When I heard that age, I did not know what to say for a moment. 31. That number feels too young. It is not the age where you imagine someone standing near the end of life. It is the age where a lot of people are just starting to feel that life is getting serious. You need to keep the job stable. You need your income to go up. Your parents are getting older. Maybe there is a mortgage. Maybe there is a child. At work, there is performance pressure, promotion pressure, layoff pressure. The whole industry may be changing under your feet. And the strange thing is, these pressures usually do not arrive all at once. They arrive quietly, one by one. At first, you just stay late one night. Then you just carry one more project. Then one day you realize something very uncomfortable. You no longer feel allowed to say you are tired. That is the part that scares me. Not that a person does not know he is exhausted, but that he has been pushed into a position where admitting exhaustion feels almost impossible. And whenever something like this happens, people outside the situation often say very simple things. Why did he not rest? Why did he not take care of himself? Why did he push so hard? Are those questions wrong? Not completely. But they are too light. They make a large problem sound like one person simply made a bad choice. But many people do not wake up one morning and decide to destroy themselves. They are trained slowly to become the person who can carry the most. And that training starts much earlier than we think. In a lot of cultures, people grow up hearing some version of this idea. No pain, no gain. Hardship builds character. What does not kill you makes you stronger. In East Asia, there is an even sharper version. Young people should be willing to suffer. The one who can eat bitterness becomes the one who rises above others. When I was younger, I did not think much about that kind of sentence. It sounded normal. It sounded motivational. But now, the more I think about it, the colder it feels. Because it is not only saying that effort can bring rewards, it is also quietly saying that suffering itself is the ticket. If you can suffer more, you deserve to move up. If you can endure more, you are more mature. If you can carry everything to the end, then you are stronger, better, more worthy. But almost nobody teaches you the next question. What kind of suffering is actually worth it? And what kind of suffering is just something other people have arranged for you to carry? Those are not the same thing. Some hardship is worth it. Learning a useful skill, practicing how to speak clearly, learning how to judge, building a craft, doing something that compounds over time. That kind of difficulty can give you another path. If one door closes later, you are not immediately terrified, because you have something you can take with you. But some suffering is not training. It is just consumption, meaningless over time, putting out the same fire again and again, taking on work with no boundary. Someone says you are young, this is good experience, and you feel embarrassed to refuse. Someone says this project only works because you are reliable, and somehow your weekend disappears again. After that kind of suffering, you may not become stronger. You may just become more used to being assigned. So today, I do not want to talk about whether effort matters. Of course, effort matters. The real question is more uncomfortable. Why do some people work harder and harder but become less and less free? Think about it. In theory, effort should give you freedom. You become more capable. You earn more money. You get a better position. You see more of the world. So you should have more confidence to say, I can leave. I can change direction. I can rest for a while. I can choose again. But in real life, many people experience the opposite. The higher their salary gets, the less they dare to quit. The higher their position gets, the less they dare to rest. The more experience they have, the less they dare to change direction. From the outside, they look successful. But inside, they feel more and more fixed in place. That is the case we need to investigate. On the surface, it looks like they are trapped because they worked too hard. But if you look more closely, it is not effort itself that traps them. It is what slowly grows behind the effort. I later came across a psychological study that makes this very uncomfortable. In 1959, Aronson and Mills ran a classic experiment. They had people go through different levels of difficulty to join a group. Some people got in easily. Some people had to go through a more embarrassing, more unpleasant process. And the result was strange. The people who had a harder time getting in were more likely to believe the group was valuable. In plain English, people hate admitting that they suffered for nothing. The more painful the entry, the more we want it to mean something. The more tired we are, the more we want to believe we chose correctly. Now put that inside a career. Someone studies for years, gets into a hard industry, works late nights, swallows a lot of unfairness, finally gets a position that sounds respectable. At that point, the hardest thing to admit is not that the job is exhausting. The hardest thing to admit is that maybe this path was never right for you. Because if you admit that, the past version of you suddenly appears in front of you. The version that tried so hard. The version that gave up nights, weekends, health, maybe even relationships. And it feels embarrassing to look at that version and say, maybe this was not worth it. So a lot of people are not really protecting the job. They are protecting their past self. I have already made it this far. How can I say it was not worth it? I have already paid so much. How can I stop now? Everyone already sees me as the hardworking one. How can I suddenly say I do not want to live like this? Effort can turn into identity. You become the person who can handle it. The reliable one. The one who never drops the ball. The successful one in the family. At first, these sound like compliments. But after a while, they start to feel like ropes. Because you begin to worry. If I cannot carry it anymore, who am I? If I say I am tired, who am I? If I admit I do not want to continue, am I still the person everyone thinks I am? That is one way people get trapped. Not by a contract, not by a locked door, but by the version of themselves they are afraid to disappoint. And then a more practical thing arrives. Money. A lot of people do earn more after years of effort. But life also reprices itself. Your salary goes up. Maybe your rent goes up too. Maybe your apartment gets bigger. Maybe you buy a car. Maybe the loan payment arrives. Social obligations become more expensive. Family expectations rise. Before, if you earned a little less for a month, you could still get by. Now, if your income drops even a little, the whole structure starts shaking. That is when you realize something. Income does not only make you freer, income can also make you more afraid of falling. This connects to many things we have talked about before. If every raise is eaten by lifestyle upgrades, your buffer does not get thicker. If cheap deals only make you buy more, your cash flow gets cut away quietly. Menus, reviews, short videos, little consumption decisions. They all seem small, but in the end, they affect one question. Do you have any room left? When a person has no room left, it is very hard to be brave. You are not staying because you love it. You are staying because leaving is too expensive. You are not working because you are not tired. You are working because stopping feels unaffordable. So sometimes it is not the salary that traps you. It is the life you have built on top of that salary. There is another part that people often miss. When you stay inside one system for a long time, the system slowly customizes you. You understand the company process. You understand your manager's mood. You know what can be said and what cannot be said. You know how to solve the exact kind of trouble that appears in that exact role. Of course, that is experience. But you have to be careful. Some experience is only valuable inside this company. Some skills are only valuable inside this industry. Some relationships only work inside this circle. The more familiar you become inside that place, the more nervous you may feel when you imagine leaving. Not because you have no ability, but because your ability has been trained too narrowly. It is like a key. It works perfectly on one door. But when you walk to another door, it does not fit at all. A lot of people are not locked inside an office. They are locked inside their own resume. That sentence sounds cold, but I think many people understand it. The longer you stay in one role, the better you know how to survive there. And the more afraid you become that outside that role, people may not recognize your value. The more ironic part is that systems often love this kind of person. They love the person who can carry. The more responsible you are, the more people hand things to you. The less you refuse, the more they get used to asking you. The longer you can stay up, the more they assume this is not a problem for you. The less you complain, the more they believe you still have room. So you thought effort would help you reach a better place. But the system discovers that you can carry more, and then it places more on your back. That is absurd. You think you are growing. But sometimes you are only being tested for a higher load limit. And the body does not work like that. The World Health Organization and the International Labour Organization once estimated that in 2016, long working hours were linked to about 745,000 deaths from stroke and ischemic heart disease. They also found that people working 55 hours or more per week had higher risks than people working 35 to 40 hours per week. I am not bringing up this number to scare people. And it does not mean every person who works overtime will collapse. The point is much simpler. Long working hours are not just a personality trait. They are not something you can cover with a sentence like, "Young people should just push through." There is a real cost. Your body does not give you an unlimited credit line just because you are ambitious. So why do so many people keep going even when they know they are exhausted? Because stopping forces them to face too many questions at once. Am I not hardworking enough? Did I suffer all these years for nothing? What happens to next month's bills? If I leave this position, am I still valuable? Those questions are painful. So the brain chooses the easier option. Keep busy. Because busyness has one comforting feature. It makes you feel like you are still moving forward, even if you have not checked the direction for a long time. And that may be the most dangerous part. Sometimes busyness is not progress. Sometimes busyness is just a way to avoid noticing that you are trapped. So what do we do with this? The answer is not to stop trying. That is too simple. And for most people, not realistic. What has to change is how we judge effort. We often ask, will this make me earn more? Will this get me promoted? Will this make me look more successful? Those questions are not useless, but they are incomplete. There is another question we need to add. Will this give me more choices later? Can I take what I learned somewhere else? Did the money I earned leave me with a buffer? Or did my life simply become heavier because my income increased? Am I treating my body like an unlimited credit card? Can my ability be exchanged in more than one place? Is this effort giving me another path? Or is it making me more afraid to leave the path I am already on? That kind of judgment matters more than motivation. If an effort makes you earn more, but also makes you more afraid to stop, be careful. If a job gives you a better title, but makes your skills useful only in one place, be careful. If a hardship only proves that you can endure more but does not give you another path, be very careful. Because that may not be growth. It may be turning you into a more durable tool. Money matters here too. Many people think money is mainly for consumption, for status, for buying better things. But money has a much simpler and more important function. Money can give you the right to stop. If you have a cash buffer, you can slow down a little. If your fixed expenses are lower, you can change direction a little more easily. If your skills can travel with you, leaving one system is less frightening. If you have a small experiment outside your main job, you do not have to place your whole life on one paycheck. None of this sounds exciting. It does not sound like a motivational speech. But it is useful. It is not about becoming lazy. It is about leaving yourself an exit. We were taught to endure hardship. But very few people taught us how to judge which hardship is worth enduring. So when we grow up, many of us mistake endurance for maturity. We mistake self-drain for responsibility. We mistake being unable to stop for ambition. But good effort should not train you into a more durable tool. It should slowly make you into a person with more choices. So if a kind of effort makes you less and less able to rest, less and less able to say no, less and less able to choose again, then maybe you need to stop and look at it. Maybe the problem is not that you are not working hard enough. Maybe you have placed your effort in a place that keeps tightening around you.